Hey everybody, it's Tia, and I'm bringing you another video on Love and Hip Hop Season 3, Episode 2. Alright everybody, here's my review. So, here we go, let's get started. First things sets off with Mimi and Aaron, and I guess they're at Aaron's house. Aaron's asking her, how you feel about what happened last night? And Mimi says she's hurt, she's pissed off, she's embarrassed. And Aaron says, you know what? I know they're fucking. And Mimi pretty much says, yeah, I know. So, Mimi says, I just don't see everything that goes on with him, I just don't. But Aaron's like, trying to break her addiction from Stevie. She said, I don't know if it's his dick or the size of his dick or whatever, but she said, she really needs to move on and find somebody else and show her worth. So Aaron asks, are you going to leave Stevie? Do you have any plans on leaving him? What does Mimi do? Looks up and gives no answer. And that's how they end the scene. The next scene you have is Rasheeda and Kirk. They're married and Kirk is her manager. I'm sorry I didn't catch how long they were married. She did say that they had an 11-year-old son. And Rasheeda has 4 stepkids. So they're in their house. And she's basically talking about how she was signed to 2 different record labels. And they didn't understand her as an artist. So she decided to go independent. And she said since she's been independent, she said it's been a great thing for her. And she's been able to get a lot done. And she's been more happier. So they're basically talking about her and her husband. They're basically talking about 2 songs. Legs to the Moon, which is a real gutter song, as she calls it, and then Marry Me. And she's basically just saying that she would like Legs to the Moon to be her first hit, her first song, and then Marry Me to be her second one. That's like her lead off song. And Kirk is basically talking about that he is the manager. He tries to do a lot of things for her, but in the end he has to bend over backwards for her. So that's basically the end of that scene. Next thing you have is Karly and Joseline. Okay, so they actually, Karly is coming to see Stevie J, and Stevie J's not there. Karly is. So she walks in. She's like, "Yeah, where's Stevie J?" Karly's like, Joseline's like, "Yeah, he's not here. He's on his way. He's on his way to the studio." She said, "But you see me here." She said, "Speak before you ask about other people." She said, "Don't be rude. Speak first." So, Joseline's right, y'all. Even though I don't like Joseline, she was right about that shit. I can't stand people walk in and ask about somebody else and don't speak to me first. She was right about that. So, anyway, she sits down. She says, I'm confused about what was going on between you and Stevie J. She said, I really thought Stevie J was your man. And then when I got caught up with Mimi and was talking to her, she was like, no, that's my man. And I just couldn't understand. She's like, if that's just something you want to keep between me and you, and Joseline's like, no. She said, first of all, she said, Stevie J is not my man. We don't go together. All I'm trying to do is just be his client and work. She said, we ain't got nothing going on. She tried to convince Karly, but Karly don't believe that. She said, first of all, I'm a bad, I don't know what she said, Mammy Jim, I'm a bad thing. She said, I can have anybody I want to. And she said, second of all, I don't want Stevie J. I don't want him. I'm not interested in him. All I'm trying to do is work for him. He be my manager, and we get this career thing going. That's basically what she said, y'all. But, y'all know Karly ain't buying that shit. She ain't buying it. So she said that, Joseline said that at the end of the day, she just wants to work for Stevie. Yeah, that and then some. So, she said, I really didn't know what the deal was. She said, I was hyping you up to Mimi. I was talking about that was your man. And, Joseline's just looking at her, like this. She said, I had no idea. And she said, so you didn't know that Mimi was Stevie J's man? She said, no. She said, I hadn't seen her in years. And I didn't know what was going on with her. But in the end, Joseline basically said as a side note that Karly talked too much and she need to keep her mouth shut. So that was basically the end with them. So that's their end of their scene. Next thing you have is Stevie J and Mimi. So Stevie decides to go find Mimi. He said she was cleaning houses, and he knew where to look for her. So he's like, what's up? She said, what's up with you? He said, I just want to let you know that you and my daughter are my first priority. But I also have to make music. Music is my business, and I need to do that and take care of that as well. And so she said, let me ask you a question. Why did Joseline throw her drink in your face like that? He said, I don't know. She said, I want you to look me in my face. Look me in my face and tell me, are you fucking her? Are y'all fucking? Tell me the truth. Stevie said, no, we ain't fucking. She said, you ain't fucking? He said, no. And he started smiling. She said, what you smiling for? He said, I ain't smiling. You asked me a question. She said, no, you smiling, man. I see you smiling. What you smiling for? I'm not smiling. She said, you know what? She said, I don't believe you. I don't believe you at all. So Stevie says that he wants Mimi in the cut as far as his business. So he offers Mimi 5%. Mimi said no, she wants 10%. So she said, I know he's doing his dirt, I know he's doing his shit, so I'm going to hit him where it hurts most, the wallet. I personally think he should just leave his ass, but that's me. So she said that she's going to draw papers for the contract. And he said, alright. So he said, well, when can I see you? She said, I don't know, can't see me now, I'm going to be tired and everything. So he was like, well, when can I see you? She said, give me a call tomorrow. So that's how the scene ends. Okay. Next thing you have is Rasheeda and Kirk again. They're in the car, and Rasheeda's driving, and she's listening to her song, Marry Me. And she's like, yeah, I like this song. And she was just reciting the words. And she said, I can't wait to go in and do this video. And Kirk was saying, yeah, when you do your video, you got to be correct. You got to be on point. You can't mess up. You gotta you gotta do what you gotta do as an artist. And she said, oh yeah, definitely. She said, when it's time for it to be done, she will be front and center. And that was basically that scene. So you get to the next scene, which is Erica and her mom. They're outside somewhere at night, and they sit down, they have a talk, and she says, let me ask you a question. Do you know the difference between a boy and a man? And Erica said, yeah, and she described the difference. So she said, her mom said, what do you think Scrappy is, a boy or a man? And Erica said, he is a boy who is turning into a man. She said, okay. She said, basically I feel the same way too. Her mom also said, that she feel like Erica's more advanced than Scrappy. She said, you was trying to go to school, you was trying to do this, you was trying to do that, and Scrappy was still lagging behind, not doing this and not doing that. And Erica disagreed and said that that's not true. So they didn't see eye to eye on that. They disagreed on that. So her mom said, Erica begins to tell the story of her mom raising her till she was about 4 years old. And then after she, right around that time, she got into drugs, and then eventually went to jail. And that her aunt took over and raised her. And the whole time she said she would send her letters, but I guess she didn't get the letters, her mom. And she would go up and pray and stuff of that nature. And, she kept wondering why she was praying, because she had never heard from her mom and talked to her and stuff like that. And her mom said, I sent you letters too. I always loved you. I always cared about you. Erica starts crying. She said, listen, she said, they hug each other. She said, I just want you to know that I always cared about you. I never stopped loving you and everything. She said, I was afraid that you was embarrassed about me because your mom was on drugs and I did a lot of wrong and I'm not a perfect person. And Erica said, no, I'm not embarrassed, and I always loved you too. And basically just she said that her mom basically said that she never stopped loving her. And she said, do you love me? And she said, yeah. She said, I love you too. I never stopped loving you. So they give each other a hug and everything, and that's basically the end of the scene. It was, very touching, very sweet. So that's the end of the scene. So you get to the next scene, which is Stevie J and Mimi. They meet up at a restaurant, and Stevie J is trying to woo Mimi and everything like that. He's trying to bullshit her, basically. So she says, Mimi says, I have something for you. So she gives him the paper. He's like, what's this? He's like, this is the contract that I want. She said, I want 20% of your, of being a manager. She said, I want 20% of the money. He said 20. He said, don't nobody get no 20. He said only Puff Daddy got 10, and Puff Daddy was the manager. She said, well, I want 20. He's like, are you serious? She's like, yeah. He was like, you bullshit. And so he wasn't trying to hear that. He was like, what about 10? She's like, no, I want 20. So they go back and forth, and he's like, who drew this up? She said, my lawyer. She said, you look it over, let your lawyer look it over, make sure everything is in order, and when it is, then you can sign and get back with me. I was like, all right. I said, you go ahead, Mimi. Mimi was trying to do her thing. Even though she should still I think she should still leave him. She's trying to get her money's worth. Okay, you can't blame her. So, Stevie says, I have a surprise for you. She's like, okay. So he goes over to the piano and he starts singing. And he sings this song about caring and love. And I don't remember what the song was. I never heard the song. So he's like hitting them high notes. I was like, okay, you trying to feel your bullshit so she can feel what you're coming from. It was still bullshit, y'all. So she starts smiling and everything at the end. So he gets up and gives her a hug, and he says he loves her, and she said, I love you too. And they hug, child. And that ends that scene. So, yeah, that ends that. So, the next thing you have is Rasheeda and Kirk. They're at some studio where she's supposed to be doing her video. Rasheeda is supposedly 2 hours late. He's calling out, Rasheeda, where you at, man? You supposed to be here. You 2 hours late. Rasheeda finally shows up. He's like, where you been? I've been calling you. Why are you so late? She's like, well, the reason why I'm so late is because I had to do my own stylish stuff that you let go. That's why I'm late. And she kind of walked up. I was like, oh. And she says a side note that, one of the cutbacks that he decided to do was get rid of her stylist. And because he got rid of her, that meant that she had to do everything that she couldn't do, and that's what made her late. And she said, first of all, she said, I'm already mad and upset because you got rid of the stylist. She said, I'm already frustrated. I'm supposed to be focused. I'm supposed to have everything mashed together. I'm supposed to be here, and I'm arguing with you over some stupid shit. And she said, you don't know what it's like to be a mom. You don't know what it's like to be a wife and an artist, and you're already upset. She said, I don't have time to be arguing with you. She said, you need to do what you need to do, and then I won't have to worry about doing this stuff on my own. Walks away, takes a deep breath, comes back in. Kurt basically says, he tries to do everything he can for her, but he said he might have to take a step back and decide what he's going to do differently to being her manager, I guess, because of what had just happened. He says, I'm going to have to take a step back and think about what I might have to do to change the situation and change the things I have to do with my responsibility of being a manager. Then the next thing you see is her getting herself together and rapping and singing her song, and then they end that scene. So the next scene is Mimi and Karly, and I guess they're at Karly's house. So Karly says, first of all, I just want to apologize for what happened that night and for me stirring up trouble. I didn't mean to start anything. I didn't know what was going on. I didn't know it was going to get out of hand. And, Mimi said, no, you don't even need to apologize. It's not your fault. You didn't do anything wrong. So Karly says, I honestly thought that Joseline and Stevie J, that they were an item because they were all in each other's face and they were so close. And she said, it was obvious. And she said, I know they're fucking. That's what Karly said. And Mimi was like, She said, so you really believe they're fucking? And Karly said, yes. She said, do you honestly believe they're fucking? She said, yeah. And Mimi said, I think so too. So they both agreed. And she said, I went and saw Joseline. Joseline said, I'm Stevie J's top priority, and I'm running things, and I'm his top priority, and he's just thinking about me, and da da da. And Mimi said, oh, first of all, she said, Joseline ain't running shit. She said, me and Stevie are gonna partner up, and I'm gonna be running things too. So basically, she was saying she's gonna be the boss of Stevie and Joseline. So Karly's like, okay, and so they bumped fists, y'all. And Karly asked Mimi, she said, are you really, really with Stevie? She said, yes, absolutely. She said, that's my man. She said, we live together, we have a child together. That's my man. She said, okay. She said, well, clearly that's not the thing, because Joseline and Stevie, she said, I know they're fucking. So, oh yeah, and Karly said that she wants to work with Stevie J. And Mimi said you gotta hand it to Karly. She talked about Stevie J and Joseline fucking in one moment. Next moment she said she wants to work with us. So she said, yeah, I'm gonna try and get that going, because I think, you know, that'd be a good idea, you working with Stevie. We're gonna partner up, and it's not gonna be a problem, and you're gonna be, basically she said that it won't be no issue. She was in charge, and what she says goes. And she wants her to be with Stevie J to work with, because that's her friend, and I guess she feel like she has what it takes to work. Plus she says bringing in money, and she don't want to lose money, basically. So that's what that was. So that was the end of the scene. Next scene you have is Stevie J, Joseline, and Mimi. First you just see Stevie J and Joseline. They're at the studio. So Joseline's like, you know, my fairy godmother ain't came yet, you know, it hasn't visited me yet. Stevie's like, huh, what? She's like, you know, I'm late, I haven't gotten my period. He said, how late are you? She's like, about 3 weeks. 3 weeks to a month. So he's like, was it 3 weeks or was it a month? She said, it's 3 weeks. She said, you know, I don't really keep track of stuff like that. It's 3 weeks. And he said, okay. Like, that's gonna make a difference. Shit, if you 3 weeks, you already in trouble. If you pregnant, you pregnant. What's the difference between 3 weeks and a month? If she's fucking a different dude, maybe. But since we know that's not the case, you know, but I don't know what his point was. Maybe that's what he was trying to say in a slick way. But, you know, if that's the only person you're messing with, it don't matter. 1 week don't make no difference between 3 weeks and a month. So anyway, that's what she tells him. So he asked him, okay, yeah, so what else is up? Like, so how's the weather? She kind of looks at him like, what you talking about? So before she could answer him, in walks Mimi. Mimi gives Stevie a hug, and she said, you know, I just want to let you know, Joseline, that I'm going to be more hands-on with his music and who he's producing and things of that nature. So, you know, you pretty much you'll be seeing more of me. And so, she says, you know, she says, you know, Karly is interested in working with you, Stevie. She said, I want to know what you think about that. Stevie's like, he's like, I pretty much feel like Karly's a rat and I'm a mouse, so he basically like, I ain't trying to work with her. She said, but I think it'd be a good idea if you do work. And Joseline's like, She said, I don't want her working. I don't want her being here. I don't want her working with Stevie J. She said, first of all, you don't get to decide who works for Stevie J. Me and Stevie J decide that. This is our business. We are a partnership. We are a couple. We make the decision, not you. I was like, oh, go ahead, Mimi. And Jocelyn was just like, you know, rolling eyes and stuff. She didn't say nothing. She said, she said, Karly's gonna be a problem. So she said that she basically said, you know, I think it would be a good idea if you decide to work with her. She said it'd be more money, and he said I think it would be good. But again, Jocelyn said, she said it's gonna be a problem, and that's pretty much how they end the scene. I think she gives him a hug, and the scene ends. So next thing you have is Erica and Scrappy. Okay, Scrappy comes over. Erica asks how he's doing. He said, oh, not too good. You know, I'm stressed out about my career and what's going on. And she said, you know, I understand that, but she just want to make sure that, she said, I want to make sure we're on the same page, because you know, when you get upset, you need to differentiate the two. And when you get mad, you don't let it interfere with everything else in your life. And he said, I can't help that. When I get stressed, I get stressed. I don't want to be bothered. I want to be left alone. You know, and Erica was like, well, you know, you got to try and be different. And he said, you know, I need to get my own place. And she's like, why? He said, because I don't want you asking me where I go, everywhere I leave, and when I'm coming back. She said, I don't even do that. He said, well, if you don't do it, your attitude shows. And she said, I don't have no attitude. What makes you think that? He said, I can tell. So she basically was saying that all she wants from him is honesty and realness. And if she can't have that, then they can go to being friends. That was a side note. She said, well, I just want to make sure that we're clear. She said, if you don't want me, if everything is not good between us, you let me know. Throw me back in the boat this way or throw me back in the boat that way, and you can do your thing and we'll be good. Everything will be fine regardless. And he was like, okay. So that's how that scene ended. So next scene is Joseline and Karly. Okay, somehow Joseline finds Karly at the gym. Joseline walks in saying, you know, you need to keep my name out your mouth. You need to stop talking to Mimi and everything. You talk too much. You need to keep your mouth shut. Karly's like, what are you talking about? She said, I know you talking about me and everything. You need to keep my business out the streets and everything. Karly's like, first of all, I'm not talking about you. I'm not talking behind your back. She's like, yes, you are. She's like, no, I'm not. She said, first of all, Mimi is the one that asked me about you. Mimi questioned me, and I told Mimi what I knew. I didn't go behind your back. She said, that's the same thing. You go behind my back. You need to keep your mouth shut and be quiet. And, you know, Karly's like, this is a joke. And Joseline said, you're a joke. She said, first of all, you will work with Stevie when I say you're ready. She said, you know what, you're a trip. She said, because I don't know who's the boss. First Mimi saying she's the boss, and then Stevie saying he's the boss. Now you saying you the boss. And she said, you will work with Stevie when I say it's ready. I'm his top priority. Joseline got some nerve, y'all. She said, whatever, Joseline, I'm not worried about you. And she said, Joseline said in a side note, yeah, she said, Karly talked too much. She said, you know, if somebody need to shut her mouth, and she, you know, somebody needs to whoop her ass, somebody young and fast, because she keeps talking, she keeps starting shit, and she said she gonna get it if she don't be quiet and shut her mouth. So when Joseline's walking out talking about, I'm leaving or whatever, she walks away. Karly said, I ain't studying you, Joseline. She said, whatever, bye, and she walks away. Child. So that's the end of that scene. So the next thing you see is Joseline. She's getting out the car. She's going to a public she's going inside a public building. She's going to the public bathroom. She sits on the toilet. She takes out something that looks like a pregnancy test. I guess she uses it. She sits to see the results, and she starts wiping her eyes, and she starts crying, and she starts putting her hands in her face. I guess we're assuming that she is pregnant, y'all. So that's the end of that scene. Next thing you have is Stevie J and Joseline together. Okay, final scene. Stevie J is at the studio. Joseline comes in. She's all upset. She's sad. He's like, what's wrong, Mom? Give her a hug. He said, what's going on with you? And she said, you know, I took a pregnancy test, and she shows it to him. He said, oh, so you decided to bring this to me, huh? Your manager, huh? She said, who else am I going to bring it to? So they already showing their true colors. So he's like, she starts crying. She said, I don't know what I'm going to do. And he said, it's not the end of the world, Mom. He gives her a hug. He said, it's going to be okay. He said, you got to be more careful. Huh? She got to be more careful. Don't it take two people to be careful? Anyway, so he says that, you know, you're supposed to handle this off the rip. Y'all, what does that mean? That she's supposed to handle this privately and not tell him? Or she's not supposed to get upset? What does that mean? Comments below, please, if y'all can tell me that. But anyway, he says that to her. So then he looks her in the face like it's no big deal and says, so whose baby is it? She said, I ain't telling. And he said, what you mean you ain't telling? She said, because I ain't telling. He said, yes, you are. You going to tell me? She said, what difference does it make who baby is? He said, because it does. She said, I'm not telling. He said, yes, you are. You going to tell me who baby it is. And she said, he said, what's wrong? He said, you know, I'm pissed off because he said, you know, you gotta, you talking about, I'm sorry, because he did say, you know, we got plans, you gotta do photo shoots, you gotta be here, you gotta be there. And she's like, why are you telling me stuff like that when we're talking about me being pregnant? So on the side note, she said, I can't believe he's saying this because he knows I'm pregnant, and he's talking about doing all this other stuff like photo shoots. So she said, so he said, so whose baby is it? And she said, you know, I'm gonna be real with you. She said, I ain't fucked nobody but you for the last 6 months. Oh, so he is the father of the baby. So the next show is gonna be something. She gets to tell Mimi that Stevie J is the father of her baby, and all kinds of drama is gonna happen next week, y'all. Anyway, y'all, that's my video for tonight. Ooh, what a mess. Alright, so I hope you enjoyed my video. Don't forget to comment, rate, and subscribe if you haven't already subscribed to this channel, okay? Alright, I would like to thank y'all for watching, and until the next time, hope to see you in the next video, okay? Alright, everybody, take care. Bye-bye.